How music education impacts student well-being. The purpose of this project is dual-pronged. The first of which is to be an advocacy resource for teachers in advocating for music education. The second of which is how to increase students' well-being through various teaching strategies. So what is well-being? Different sources define it in different ways. Health organizations like the World Health Organization define well-being as empowerment and active participation. The Department of Health defines well-being as a positive state of mind, ability to cope, and connect with others. Educational groups like the United Educators Foundation define well-being as the realization of potential, whether it be physical, emotional, mental, social, and spiritual. Subjective well-being refers to individual happiness and their sense of fulfillment. There are two facets of it. Hedonic, which is positive feeling. This is in reference to individual pleasure, engagement, and meaning. And then there's eudaimonic, which is positive functioning. This brings in the idea of self-determination theory. Competence is related to students' ability and belief that they can complete a hard task. Autonomy is related to a sense of freedom and choice. Relatedness is their social relationships to others. How has education improved well-being? In the realm of social emotional learning, mental health has been a positive outcome of music education. The arts can promote emotional literacy. This can help with mental health and help students develop strong relationships. The arts can empower students through supportive statements, opportunities for decision making, and improvisation. Community of practice between teachers and students and other students create senses of belonging and connection. The arts enable creative abilities, which can increase motivation. It can also improve self-confidence, social skills, strong relationships, increase sense of pride. It can improve mood, reduce anxiety scores, and decrease depression and fatigue. Music can also be used to develop coping strategies. Creative engagement encourages students to develop divergent thinking patterns and increase self-efficacy in problem solving. This creates a more resilient student who has strategies and ideas of how to tackle life's challenges. Music can also be used as a source of emotional regulation. It has been found to decrease stress and induce positive feelings of joy and empowerment. People commonly use music as a way to manage and regulate their mood, especially with increasing availability of music. This can help with self-exploration, emotional expression, self-esteem, and confidence. Music can also be used to build community. It can reduce social isolation. Being in community allows for opportunities for co-creation, togetherness, making mistakes, and risk-taking. Increased interpersonal communication is part of the social component of music education, where there are opportunities for social integration in terms of relatedness and empowerment in terms of autonomy. It has also been found that engaging in music and dancing with others is more beneficial than engaging in these things by yourself. There's a social component of music where engaging in it with others just amplifies its effects. Music has also been found to affect physical health. 52% of adults who engaged in music said they felt healthier or better since engaging in music. There's also the known factor that singing has physical benefits. Music can also be used to help develop motor skills. There are documented positive results in skill and accuracy when learned with music. Dynamic systems theory posits that motor development is the interaction between individual factors, movement experiences, and the environment. The repetition of movement patterns establish connections in the brain. At a certain point, failure to develop these skills will lead to the inability in adult life to perform certain movement tasks. This critical period is ages 2 through 7. By having early music education interventions, we can help students develop these different motor skills, whether it's gross or fine, and we we know that there is an effect of when students do not have the same movement experiences through things like the pandemic or even changing social attitudes. Um, in the pandemic, some students really did not get to go outside and really engage in play and develop their fine and gross motor skills. And we saw that in the classroom. We can use music as a way through which to develop this. And there's also music and the brain. Music is associated with refined auditory processing, as musicians were found to have enlarged primary auditory cortexes. After 15 months of piano training, students showed improved audio perception. In terms of sensory motor skills, musicians have larger corpus callosum. There's also an increased gray matter in areas related to higher order cognitive processes. It has also been found that musicians have differences in their frontal and parietal cortexes, which are important for language. For young children, music education has also been found to have a great benefit. MELPs, which are music early learning programs, often involve movement, dancing, percussion, and other musical activities like singing. It has been found to increase prosocial behaviors, emotional empathy scores, phonological processing, early reading ability, improved self-regulation, and spatiotemporal awareness. Parents have found that music education can improve their students' musical skills, help build social networks, improve physical development, improve self-confidence, create an openness to learning, and help students learn learning strategies. So how can we more intentionally improve students' well-being? First of which is through social emotional learning. So, as we've discussed, self-determination theory has three components: competence, relatedness, and autonomy. We can help promote competence in students by creating activities that are designed to make them feel better and more competent. This can be done through chunking information in smaller chunks to help with processing, supportive statements, and not just false compliments, but honest compliments, and also reframing how we talk to students and saying, instead of saying, no, this is wrong, we can reframe our language as, try this, or I noticed. We can also create achievable goals that we know students can achieve and help increase their self-confidence and their belief to increase their self-confidence and help them believe that they can achieve tasks. In terms of relatedness, we can improve relatedness by creating opportunities for interaction with others. This can be through socialization, teamwork, planning community functions, trips, opportunities for bonding. There's also the concept of a classroom culture and traditions that create a environment that they all understand and a shared sense of connection. There's also the idea of how do we promote autonomy. We provide options and assignments about what to learn, how to learn, and maybe even how to show knowledge. We can also promote autonomy through allowing for composition and improvisation. There's also the idea of the benefits of playfulness in music. What is playfulness? Playfulness refers to the predisposition to reframe events in humorous or entertaining lights. When we allow students to play, it improves emotional well-being in terms of social competence, emotions, motivation, providing opportunities for fun and laughter, and improved mental and physical health, and decreased levels of stress. As students go on through their educational life, there are decreased opportunities for playfulness. So how can we do this in our classrooms and create intentional moments? Even in the upper levels of middle school and high school, we can provide opportunities for games, for creativity, improvisation, and even just allowing students to be silly and to really still be kids. Trauma-informed care is also another angle through which we can be more intentional about promoting well-being in our students. So what is trauma? Trauma is not just what happened to you, but what happened inside of the child after what happened. There's also the idea of collective trauma, which is social and mass trauma. This can be in reference to community disasters, racial trauma. There's also the idea of intersectionality, where there are compounding factors of trauma, whether that is gender, class, race, disability, things along those lines. And trauma has been shown to have several negative effects on people. It can affect the ability to feel safe, their ability to form positive relationships. Often, when trauma cannot be expressed out loud, it can present itself in physical ailments that negatively affect their health. And it can also create hyperarousal, where they are never able to feel truly safe and are constantly in survival mode. How do we navigate this? We approach every situation with a background awareness that trauma is in the room with us. We also are intentionally anti-oppressive and are cognizant of the different political and social factors that have led into different interactions. We create opportunities for expression and healing, but we do not require a disclosure of trauma. Dealing with trauma so often can also have an effect on educators. It can create stress, burnout, because often educators are asked to go beyond their professional training. So we can support educators through reflective practices, peer support, and peer discussions, and professional development opportunities. Core principles of trauma-informed care are ensuring safety, trustworthiness, choice, collaboration, and empowerment. Physical well-being is also a big facet through which we can promote well-being. Through being cognizant of how our teaching can reduce tension and injuries through techniques like body mapping, Alexander techniques, stretches, warm-ups, and also promoting sleep, hydration, and proper nutrition. There's also the idea of community. So often we idealize the individual genius, when in these classrooms we can create opportunities for community creativity and group learning by incorporating student ideas. This is a non-hierarchical version of learning where everyone is on an equal playing field and decisions are democratic. People take on dual roles where it is not just the teacher and the student, but decisions are passed around. Dialogical theory states that there's a shared knowledge through the exchange between people, and this can be from peer to peer or student to teacher. Alexander has 5 principles of dialogical improvisation. These are the collective, supportive, reciprocal, cumulative, and purposeful. And there's also the key aspects of dialogical education, which are appropriation, co-construction, transformation, dialogical switch, identification, and culture change. All right, thank you so much. So this was all about how we can use music education to advocate for well-being, and also different strategies and ideas that will help us be more intentional about promoting well-being in our students.